Right, folks, we just heard the brand new single, It's Not Over, from Simon McBride, which came out yesterday and is available on iTunes and Amazon, etc. And I'd love to welcome to Rock Poser Roulette the man himself. Welcome aboard.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure. So,
the pleasure's all mine. As with a lot of these things, I am a bit of a fan of your music, it has to be said.
all right.
And
Cool.
you follow such a great tradition of Irish guitarists, which you've probably heard 1,001 times.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times. Yeah. So, but it's always a compliment. There's a lot of great guitar players from Ireland. So, it's just good to be compared in the same category, if you want to put it. So, but yeah, no, it's always a compliment for me. So.
Well, for those of you out there who may not be familiar with Simon's work, and shame on you if you're not, let's take, I suppose, ourselves right back to the beginning when, of course, you were in Sweet Savage, which, of course, is probably best known for having Vivian Campbell as a previous member.
Yeah, Sweet Savage. I think I was 16. I think at the time when I was doing the first two albums with those guys. Viv, he was the previous guitar player, yeah, but he went off to do better and more wonderful things with the likes of Def Leppard. Yeah, it was that was a good time for me. Doing the Savage thing was good in a way. It got me out touring, and I was a 16-year-old kid on the road, so it was kind of very cool. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. To be honest, that sort of music was never really my forte in a way. I was always more in kind of what I do now, kind of more kind of bluesy rock, whereas the Sweet Savage thing was there was a lot of hard rock metal with a lot of fast guitar playing. So yeah, never really got me as what I do now does. So. But it was fun.
So what got you into that, considering obviously, your genre of choice is obviously the blues and blues rock end of the music scale?
Well, what got me into it? Well, to be honest, I kind of believe any kind of rock guitar player is always going to have that genre of music in them, because, I kind of firmly believe that, everything kind of stems from the blues background in some sort of way.
Absolutely.
So for me, I kind of, when I grew up, I was listening to guys like Joe Satriani and Steve Vai and a lot of those guys who were around at that time of me growing up, and learning to play guitar. So and a lot of their influences were like guys like Jimi Hendrix and Clapton and all the older guys. So it kind of that element of it kind of pushed through into my own playing, and I kind of, once I got older, I started going back and listening to more of those guys, and I just really liked the style of it and liked the way they play. Nothing was ever too complicated. It was just simple, but it was a lot of nice melodies, and it just really grabbed me. It's just a lot of hooks, and I for me, myself, I just wanted to, I wanted to be able to try and capture that in a little way with my own playing. As regards as melody, and trying to put that in, because believe it or not, that is a very hard thing to do and get right. So a lot of guys tend to play a lot of notes, but there's not much for me, not much kind of melody in it.
Right.
But, so that's what kind of got me into that whole thing. I was just very intrigued by the whole, melody aspect of it, and I try to do it in my own playing today. I don't know whether it works. You can tell me better. So I don't know. Obviously when I play now, I play in that sort of style, but I've kind of elaborated a bit. I've added my own thing, and various other influences have come into play. So like I would do a lot of kind of fast flurry lines and stuff, but I try to do them in small doses, so it's not overpowering for people to listen to. So, because at the end of the day, my theory is, if the general listener can appreciate it, then I'm doing something right, So yeah, well, that's how I feel I get into it. So.
Well, for my personal taste, and the reason I like your releases so much is because it has got that blues rock vibe, which is, got to be said, is getting more and more popular now. I mean, the likes of Philip Sayce and
yeah.
Danny Bryant, and I could mention so many at the moment who have got, shall we say, probably dragging people into the blues, but into what I call the dirtier end of the blues. Because, I mean, I don't tend to go into the bluegrass sort of end of stuff. That's not really my thing. But there are obviously the elements of the blues, but it is crafted so much of the classic rock as well. And I just think you get the best of both worlds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you do. Well, the category blues, to be honest, it's not really blues anymore. It's a whole amalgamation of various genres, as you say. There's lots of great guitar players out at the minute, and they're all doing their kind of own interpretation of it. It's a tough one. It is a very popular market, but it's kind of, it's okay. I don't really know how to describe it. It's kind of weird. It's just there's a lot. As I said, there's a lot of guys out there playing in the same sort of category that I'm put in. But when I listen to guys like Philip Sace or somebody, I wouldn't say they play the same as me. I would think that guys like Philip Sace be a bit more bluesy, kind of, I would say, Stevie Ray Vaughan orientated, and that sort of style. Whereas I don't know. I guess I kind of go against the grain. I kind of play, it probably leads a bit more to the rock end.
Yeah.
Just simply from where from my background in music.
I think the problem is
it's a weird industry in that sort of place. It's people categorize you as blues, but it's not in a way. You could still get away with, for example, doing like a rock festival. It's bizarre.
Well, I was going to say, I think the problem is that the term blues is almost a poison chalice in some ways, because it still comes out for a lot of people this image of, shall we say, real sort of staid old men and a certain style, when in fact, as you just rightly said, it encompasses so much more now, and it really the word doesn't really do justice to all the different styles that are out there now.
Yeah, that's true. To be honest, I hate the term. I hate any kind of categories now because, blues, as I said, it can be anything you want it to be, really. It does have that old stigma of, older gentlemen, at your gigs or whatever. And there is a certain element of truth in that.
Sure.
But I find now with more and more gigs that I do, there's a younger audience seem to be appearing. So it's a great way to be now, because in this kind of category, because there's more and more people do it. So it's getting out there. It's breaking through that old stigma of the category blues. People don't see it as blues anymore. Unfortunately, when you're on iTunes or Amazon or any of those places, they have to categorize you as something, or whatever, whether it's a magazine or whatnot. So for me, I wouldn't personally class myself as a blues player. If I can play like a blues player, but I just kind of class myself as more of a kind of rock player with a hint of the blues in it. But that all boils down to, again, the whole situation of what is blues.
Indeed,
it's everything now. It's like Led Zeppelin years ago. They were a blues band, but they're not classed as a blues band.
No, they're not.
So it's kind of
Well, of course, somebody thought you were blues, because obviously when your first album came out, which of course was since then, of course you got nominated for the British Blues Awards.
Yeah, that was right. It was kind of weird. I got nominated for Best Singer as well, and that was even weirder for me.
Right.
So, some people, but there is blues in my albums, because that comes out in me and what I do, and I do like the kind of more traditional type of blues, as well as what I do, kind of more modern stuff. I try to. When I'm doing an album, I just do whatever I feel like at the time. I don't try to go down a certain road, or I don't wake up one day and say I'm going to write a pop rock blues song today. I just, whatever comes out of me, comes out of me. And if it's a real kind of more traditional type of blues song, great. But if it's not, it's just, it is what it is. So I don't necessarily plan what I write on my albums. It just, whatever happens, happens. And as they said about the blues song, that's just the way it was.
That's probably the ideal work. 'Cause, I mean, obviously, it's bringing out your true sort of soul and feeling towards the music.
Yeah, it is. Because there's a lot of passion and soul in kind of blues and R&B, and basically, blues and R&B. That's what it's all about. It's passion and soul.
Mind you, R&B that's a term that's been absolutely bastardised, unfortunately. Because what is R&B now is certainly not R&B that I remember.
No, it's definitely there's a lot of categories which have changed over the years. I think there's too many categories. I think I looked on iTunes one day and it was like I just looked through the categories and the list just kept going and going and going. I was like, what?
I'm still coming across bizarre ones. Some of the stuff that I get sent through for play, and I look at what they've categorised it. I'm thinking, okay, that's a new one on me.
yeah. There's a lot of that out there.
Well, obviously, moving forward, I mean, you've toured with some very big names in sort of what is really a short space of time.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate over the years. I've been able to appear with some bigger artists and stuff like that. So, it's just kind of, I'm very lucky in a way. Just from a young age, as I started playing, I was a very quick learner, so I was kind of threw on to the main stage at a very young age. And to be honest, it was kind of more like a novelty thing back then.
Right.
Not that I couldn't play. I could play like Joe Satriani's stuff, Surf from the Alien, all that, those sort of songs. So, I was lucky enough like that to do a lot of stuff with PRS guitars at the start, and from doing that, you just meet different people in the industry, and you end up getting to play with them, and and that's how it happens. It's so it's just getting out there. You say short space of time, I would say 25 years. I've been technically doing this for 25 years since the age of 10. So I started playing from about 9. And after, I remember when I was 11, I was doing a television show back home, and I was playing, I think it was Surfing with the Alien by Joe Satriani and stuff. So for me, I've been around for a long time. People think I've been around for like maybe 6-7 years or whatever, but no.
I guess it's because people judge it by obviously album release dates.
Yeah, well, I do understand why people think that. It is because. My first album, I can't remember, it was released, I think it was 2006 or something like that. I'm not too sure. But, but prior to that, I was just more like a sideman with different artists. I played with Andrew Strong from The Commitments for a long time. I played for him for about 8 years. And that's all I did for 8 years.
Right.
Did a lot of stuff for him, and, I appeared with various other artists and stuff like that. So, I can understand why people think that I've been around for 6 years.
Well, I think we should get a gratuitous plug in, obviously, for your autumn tour of the UK.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see it's what I call a proper UK tour, i.e. it's not one date in Wembley.
No, we try to do... actually, believe it, I think this tour in the UK is probably the shortest one we've done so far. In a long run. Normally
right.
It's 2.5 weeks straight, but I think this one is about 2 weeks, but there's about 3 or 4 days off, so which is good because it gives me a break, gives my throat a break every night. So, but in the UK there's plenty of venues. So I try to come, the UK maybe once, twice a year maximum. So I believe if I play any more in the UK, it's you kind of get a bit too known in the market, and your audiences depreciate a bit, I think. So, it's the UK is a great place to play, and so it's but it's trying to do more is quite hard because you have all these other territories you got to play, like Holland and Germany and Norway.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, Holland obviously is a massive blues market.
Yeah, it's a pretty big market. It's there's a lot of good support for guitarists, and Germany's a pretty big market. Norway's a pretty good market as well. To be honest, a lot of the European markets they're all a bit like the UK. They're kind of they all have a good support for blues, if you want to put it.
Or maybe they're a bit more open-minded without having to pigeonhole. They're just out to listen to good music.
Yeah, well, I find that it's the same everywhere. To be honest, anybody that comes to my gigs, I find they, they like to, they're just there to listen to the music, and well, I do. Obviously, in the UK, a lot of people I find, obviously, they're coming, they're paying to see me, so they're obviously going to enjoy it, hopefully. But sometimes, like I remember my first time I went to Holland, I was always a bit nervous because people hadn't seen me before,
Right.
and you do get a lot of people just going to gigs. Out of curiosity, maybe never heard me before, but they just love that style of music and they go for curiosity's sake, which is very good. That still happens. Especially with the web and the internet. A lot of people nowadays like to check things out. They go on YouTube and watch lots of videos first or whatever. But it's kind of cool in Europe where they still just go to venues no matter who it is playing. So it's kind of cool.
Well, obviously, they need to sort of drag you kicking and screaming into sort of the near future's work, because obviously the single "It's Not Over" is obviously going to be part of your 5th album, which is due out next year.
Yeah.
How much of that have you recorded already?
I would say I'm probably about. I would say probably about halfway. I would say. I generally try to get everything done as regards the songwriting. I get them in some sort of demo or shape or form. So I've about 90% of the songs, at ready to record mode, as I would call it. I don't know where I'm going to record it yet. I started recording. I know where I do the drums and guitars, etc. For the track "It's Not Over," I do the drums in the same place I did my last album. And the guitars, generally I just do at home, or my last album I did at Paul Reed Smith's home studio, which I might do again. I'm still undecided of what to do. So I'm just more concentrating at the minute, just trying to get good material together.
Have you decided on who you're going to bring in as a producer for the next one?
I have no idea, to be honest. I don't really know. We have a few options
Right.
In mind, which unfortunately I can't mention at the minute.
No, sure.
So there's a lot of different things which are happening at the minute in my whole kind of team. So there's a lot of changes going to be happening. So but that will all be coming, I would say, with the release of the new album and stuff. So who knows? We have a lot of ideas for what we want to do with the album. Nothing is concrete or final yet. So it's just these kind of things kind of come together very quickly at the last minute generally. Right. So usually it's when I have the album, all the songs written and done. It's a case of, right, where are we going to record? Do we go away? Do we book a studio somewhere, or do I do it here? Or it's a lot of things to consider. So.
Well, Simon, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Really enjoying the new single. I'm sure, without a doubt, I will enjoy the new album, whichever direction it takes. Probably based on, obviously, the other stuff that you already released. I say I'm a big fan of your stuff, and all I can say is I wish you every success, obviously, with the career and the album when it comes out.
Well, thank you very much. I'm hoping the album will be a joy for people to listen to. I'm working very hard on it, so because I always try to take my albums to the next level. So hopefully this next one will take it to this level. So, but yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on your show. It's been good fun.
Thank you very much, Simon.
All right, thank you.